What is going on, guys? Ryan from Livin here, and welcome to the 4th episode of Work Smarter Not Harder. In today's video, I'm going to be teaching you guys how to spool your own fishing reel. Now today, I have my brand new Penn Battle 3 3000 matched with my 7-foot Redbone inshore saltwater rod. I'm going to be using this setup to fish the Intracoastal here in South Florida. I'm really excited to get this setup all ready and dialed in to start fishing the Intracoastal. And I'm also really excited to be making this video for you guys. So the line for my new setup here is going to be Cast King's Destron line, and this is a 15-pound 300-yard spool. The color is blue camo. I've never seen a blue camo color before, so I thought it would be really cool and it would look great on the gold Penn Battle 3. And if you guys are not sure how much line can actually fit on your reel, you can look it up. You can Google your fishing reel and look at the specs, or you just simply look on the reel itself. You guys can't pick it up on camera, but right here, all this writing, it says the different kind of fishing lines. So you have braid and mono, and then it gives you different pounds. So you have 10, 15, 20 pounds, or what is appropriate for that size fishing reel, and it'll tell you how many yards can actually fit on this reel. So this reel tells me that there's, for 15-pound braid, that 250 yards of it can fit on this reel. So I bought a 300-yard spool, so I can fit almost the entire spool onto this reel. And without further ado, let's get started putting this fishing line onto the reel. So we have the reel sitting here with the bail open. It's on my bed, so you have to excuse me, guys. I don't really have much of a better place to put the reel right now. I don't have a big desk or anything, but I have my line with some line peeled out, and we have a reel right here with the bail open. Now, if you guys take a look right here, there's actually like a little rubber non-skid pad. Not all reels come with this, and if your reel doesn't have it, it's perfectly okay. It's just a little bit harder to get it started. So what we're going to do is we're going to loop this around the bail. Just a quick little side note, I just realized I forgot to do something. Before you tie your knot onto your reel, make sure you put it through the first guide on here, because when you are reeling in, you want at least one guide to keep it going straight onto the reel. I forgot to do that, so now I have to cut off my knot and put it through the guide first and then retie it onto the spool. Rookie mistake, but make sure you do that. Make sure you go through at least the first guide. And we're going to tie just a basic fisherman's knot. Now, if you guys don't know how to do that, this isn't the best video to watch to learn how to do that. I'm just going to tie it. You guys can see how I'm doing it. But if you search the internet on Google or YouTube, you can find videos on how to do a fisherman's knot. But basically, we're just going to twist this around a bunch of times, and then we are going to go back through this hole and then back through the hole that we make here. Alrighty. Now grab the tag and go back through this hole that we just created. If you guys saw my camera angle position right here, you'd understand why I'm struggling with this. I'm like bent over sideways to show you guys, but we're good, we got it. So we're on that rubber seat, we got the knot tight, there we go. Now we can cinch it down. So we're just gonna pull it tight. Not the tag end, we're pulling the end with all the line on it. So once we have our knot tight, then we can just take this little tag end, cut it off. All right, so now we have our knot officially started here. We got the fisherman's knot on there, and it's time to start putting the line on the reel. All right, so at this point, I will make it be a lot easier if you guys have somebody who could just help you out for 10 minutes to get this line onto the reel, because somebody needs to hold the spool, or at least that's the way I do it. There's a lot of different ways to do it, but the main thing, when you're getting braided line onto a fishing reel, it has to be tight at all times. You can't just sit there with the spool on the ground and reel it in, although some people will do that. If the tighter that the line is going onto the reel, especially when it comes to braid, the way better off you're gonna be, because when you cast, you're gonna get a bunch of bird's nests in your line, and it's gonna just be, trust me, a whole ball of frustration. So you want this line to get on there as tight as you can. So the way that I accomplish that, usually the best way is to have somebody, you wanna stick a hole through the hole in the middle and then put something in there. For this case, I just have a pencil, and usually I'd have somebody else hold the spool and put it up against like a piece of cardboard or something. So in this case, I'd use usually just a package that it comes in. So I would hold the spool, or have the other person hold the spool just like this, putting a little bit of tension on it, and have the other person reel in the line onto the reel. Now, I do not have another person here. I am here by myself. So the way I'm going to do it is it the best method? Not sure, but it's the way that I do it and it works. It gets it on tight. But I am basically going to do the same thing, but I am going to hold the spool with my feet. Yes, you heard me right. It probably is crazy. Comment down below if you guys ever spool reels by yourself. What's your method of doing it, getting on tight? I'd love to hear different ways. This is just the easiest way that I've found. But basically, I have this like this, and I put the cardboard underneath it on the ground, and then I put my feet onto whatever I'm using. In this case, I'm going to use a pencil, and I'm going to put it on the ground, and I'm going to reel in the thing myself. Like I said, a lot easier to do if you have someone to help you out, but I don't in this case. So we're putting my feet on the spool and holding it down. Okay, now that we have our line tied onto the spool, bail is closed. So the line is going on the other side of the bail just like so. And it is through the first eye, and I have the other end right here on the spool. It means we're all ready to go. So like I showed you guys before, I'm going to put this pencil right through the spool, just like so. And I'm going to put it on the ground, hold it with my feet, and reel in. Hold up guys, 1 second. Sorry to interrupt, but if you guys are enjoying this video and finding it helpful, I'd really appreciate it if you guys would hit the like button on this video and consider subscribing down below to see more content like this. Thank you guys so much. Okay, so we are all set up and ready to go. So we got the spool right here. Throwing it on the cardboard, getting started is a little tricky, I'll be completely honest, but finding your balance with the spool and holding and everything. But just like that, you see how we have holding it tight right here with the rod, and make sure your drag's tight on the spool. And what you're gonna do is just slowly start reeling in. See how I'm letting just a little bit of tension. You kind of just got to gauge it with your feet, how much tension you should be putting on, but you don't want to be struggling to put on line, but you want it to come off nice and easy. It looks like my cardboard just fell out. We're just gonna rock it on the carpet. Hopefully it doesn't rip it up. I'll check in a second to make sure. You guys can see that hopefully you can see I'm not destroying my room. The line is slowly starting to go on. It's perfect. My knot did not slip. It's holding up. And I'm not gonna lie to you guys, conventional reels without guides are harder to put line on than a spinning reel. And that's because without a guide, you have to self-wind or self-level the spool to make sure it goes on evenly. With a spinning reel, it self-levels itself. So it spins, it goes up and down, and it just puts the line on exactly where you need to go. So all you gotta do is make sure that that line is going on in a tight manner. And that line is going on beautifully. Show you guys right here. Looks fantastic. So what we're going to do is just sit here and pretend like we're fighting a fish the whole time. Now it might sound funny, but that is something I actually heard from someone somewhere, that the line should be going on as tight as the biggest fish that you think you're going to be catching with this. And now obviously if I'm catching a huge, 20, 30 pound snook on here, he's gonna be pulling really hard, and you don't want to be putting it on that hard. But generally speaking, just put some tension on it. It's almost like you're fighting a fish, and trust me, it's gonna take a while. So you're gonna be just as exhausted as you would if you were fighting a fish. So the line is just going on beautifully right here. So my cardboard box method is not working out so well right now today. I don't know why. I'm not doing anything differently than I normally do, but whatever, gotta make do. So instead of sitting here and shredding my carpet, this is also a nice alternative. I'm just using my rag that I usually use for fishing, throw it down to the carpet, and just put it on that instead. Now while I'm spooling this up, I'll tell you guys that there are a lot of different ways to put line onto a reel. It isn't rocket science. Some people put the spool in a bucket of water, and you just reel it in straight from there, and the water is supposed to help get the line on nice and tight. And I don't know if I really not believe that method, but I'm not really sure if I'm 100% confident in that method getting my line on as tight as I want it. So I personally do not do that. One thing you guys also want to make out for is that your braided line is really sharp. When you're reeling in like this, you don't want it going and creating an indent in your guide. So just something you guys got to watch out for when spooling up your reel. So anyway, putting in a bucket of water is one method. Like I said, if you guys have somebody to help you out, if you have somebody holding the spool, it's a lot easier. I highly recommend that method. This isn't so bad either though. Just sitting here with my feet on the spool and reeling in. You know, especially if you have a conventional reel where you have to guide the line on and self level it. And if you have to do that, plus you have to hold it with your feet, it can get a little bit difficult at times. So I'm gonna say if you have to do a conventional reel where you have to self wind it, then I would say definitely have a friend help you with that. But a spinning is not so bad to do. And look at that very beautiful camo color on here. This is looking awesome on this reel. Now we still have a little ways to go, so we are going to keep on going. Now you guys might be wondering, Ryan, how do I know when I actually have enough line on my reel? Well, that's a great question. If this reel was rated for 15 pounds and 300 yards, I'd say throw the entire spool on. That's what it's rated for. But this one's only rated for 250 yards at 15 pounds of braid. So we're not gonna put the entire spool on. And the best way that I use to judge it, if you guys look right over here, hopefully you guys can see what I'm talking about, but there's a ring here. Now when I first started, there was another ring that's already covered. So what I generally like to do is to spool it right up to that ring. To be completely honest, I don't know if that's what that ring is there for. I'm gonna assume so. I'm gonna assume that that ring on the inside means that that's its max capability. It's kind of in line with this spool on the top. So I'm gonna go ahead and say that that's what it's for. If it's not what it's for, someone please correct me down in the comments down below, but I'm 90% sure that's what that ring is for. So you're gonna reel in the line, still going, having no problems holding with my feet, and you're gonna reel it in all the way till that line. Now I'm gonna go ahead and say that we're almost at max capacity. This spool is looking pretty full. Now if you overfill your spool, you're gonna know, because when you go to cast out, the line's gonna kind of fall out of the spool a little bit over the top, and it's gonna create some knots in your line, and trust me, there's going to be plenty of yards of lines that you're gonna have to cut out of frustration. You're gonna go to cast, boom, knot, cut out, and then it's like, man, I'm wasting all this line, but you know what? That line probably wasn't meant to be on the reel anyway. It was probably too much. So don't worry about that too much, but you might have a little bit of trouble at first if you're noticing that, you know, you're casting every cast and you're like, man, why do I keep getting knots in my line? It's because you probably have too much line on your reel, or you didn't get it tight enough. But now if you guys are following my method here, it's getting plenty tight onto the reel. So more than likely you just put on too much line on your reel. All right, so if you guys look here, it actually looks like I'm starting to see the bottom of the spool. I'm sure you guys probably can't see that because it's pitch black in there, but that means I'm gonna stop. There's probably about 50 yards left on here, or maybe a little bit less. I probably overspooled it a little bit because I tend to do that because I never learn from my mistakes. But, so we're gonna stop here. So what to do after you get all your line on is extremely simple, guys. All you're gonna do is come over here with a pair of scissors. And of course I messed that up right there. You just gotta, whoa, these scissors do not feel like cutting this braid today at all. There we go. Cut the line. Jeez, I thought that was gonna be an easy task. But you cut your line just like that. And now what you're gonna do is take it, I wouldn't say to open your bail right away. I just loosen the drag enough so that you can pull a line out like that. And then you're gonna pull the line and make sure you put it through every single eye on this guide. All right, now that we got it fed, pull out some extra. We're through all of the eyes of our pole. And now you guys are ready to fish. All you gotta do is tie on a swivel or tie on a leader, whatever you guys are doing, tie it onto the end. That's for another video if you guys wanna find out how to tie, what to tie. If you want to see any of that, let me know. But this is just a how to spool the reel video. So this is our reel, it's our final product. Looks fantastic. Let me know what you guys think about this setup down in the comments down below. Like I said, Redbone inshore rod matched for the Penn Battle 3 3000. Super excited to catch some really cool fish on this setup. All right, and that's gonna be a wrap here on Work Smarter Not Harder episode 4, where I taught you guys how to spool up your own reel. Now keep in mind that spooling different kinds of reels, like I mentioned, is different. This is a spinning reel, and it's pretty much one of the simplest reels to spool up. And the conventional reels, are a little bit different. If they don't have a self winder, you have to actually level the line onto the reel yourselves. It's a little bit more complicated. If you guys want to see a video like that, you can let me know down in the comments button below. And if you guys did find this video helpful, please hit that like button and consider subscribing down below. It really helps me out a lot and allows me to keep making videos just like this one for you guys. Now, if you guys are a returning viewer to Livin Salty, I apologize for the probably, I think, 2 weeks that I haven't posted. I was going through just a little bit of a creative drought, I guess, and, you know, stuff going on in my personal life, and I wasn't able to post and create videos, unfortunately. But don't worry, guys, I'm back. I'm not sure if I'm going to be doing 2 videos every week or if I'm going to be doing 1 video a week, but you can count on from here on out, we're back to at least 1 video a week. So I'm sorry about the little bit absence there, but I needed to take it, and we're back at it, so don't worry. If you guys like this kind of video, make sure you guys check out my other videos in my Work Smarter Not Harder series. I'll put one video that I think you guys really like over here on the left side of the screen. And until my next video, remember to keep living salty.